You may be forgiven when you look at this chair thinking this is a French armchair, but you're entirely wrong. In fact, it's English and it's 18th century. In 1754, Thomas Chippendale put together the Gentlemen's and Cabinet Makers Director, and this was the forerunner of publications. So gentlemen and cabinet makers subscribed to this publication, and it was hugely popular. And by doing this, he didn't actually make enemies, but he had rivalries. And one of his rival firms at the time in the 18th century was Ince Mayhew. Now, they had a standard very similar to Thomas Chippendale of excellence, and they made a publication some years later, 4 years later as it happens, and they dedicated their subscriptions to the Duke of Marlborough. And with their cabinet work, again, being in the influence of Thomas Chippendale, because at the time he was the market leader, these cabinet makers were almost copying each other. So let's take a close look at this chair. It's in what I call country house condition. It's unrestored. And if we look carefully, we can obviously see the gilt decoration. But it gets better than that, because where you have this green paint is very, very dirty. And underneath the green paint, as you can see here, you can see another layer of paint, and that's a much paler green. And with careful restoration, you can actually chip this off and find this lighter green underneath. We've done a little bit of investigation on one of these little panels here, where this lovely carved patre is, and again we can see the original gilding. So we realise that this is an 18th century chair, heavily influenced by Thomas Chippendale, because Chippendale, again, he made suites of furniture for leading country houses and estates. Obviously one of the most famous ones which comes to mind is the Lascelles family at Harewood in North Yorkshire. And in his collection of furniture which he supplied to them, he often used green and gilt decoration. But the green which he used was actually slightly darker. So this leads me to conclude that this chair is most probably by Ince Mayhew. It's dated around 1780, and the virtues are fantastic. So it has what we call a serpentine fronted seat. The seat rails are all beautifully carved with this what we call stopped fluting. Below the fluting are these tiny little beads, almost pearl-like. The front legs, the top of the front legs, you have this curved incised decoration, all gilded. Then the legs are beautifully gilded and fluted, still with the green paint on the outside, and then this comes down to little brass casters. The whole thing is, it's a terribly, terribly rare chair. I love the idea you have this, what we call the escutcheon back, and as I explained, little elbows, or little pads on the arms here. It's a great piece of English furniture, and as I say, it's in unrestored condition. I have actually done some research and found a pair of these chairs, and they have been fully restored. And when you see them fully restored and this apple green, it's really, really interesting. So it's down to you as the collector. Do you want to buy a chair which is unrestored and in the country house condition, or do you want to buy a pair of chairs all beautifully, fully restored? The decision's up to you.